Hey there, folks. Welcome into my oneer about Mother Mary, but something's different. Yeah, I shaved my beard off. My skin was pretty sensitive, and after moving here to Phoenix, it had gotten irritated. So I decided to give it a chance to air out and scare everybody with my chin. So there's your first jump scare of the podcast. It's so good to be back with y'all. I am very happy to be spending a few minutes talking about this movie. Let's start over with our friends at IMDb. They had this as long buried wounds rise to the surface when iconic pop star Mother Mary reunites with her estranged best friend and former costume designer, Sam Anselm, on the eve of her comeback performance. I have this as 3.5 stars with a heart. And my review on Letterboxd is, so just for the record, Anne Hathaway is a freaking superstar. She's so good in this movie that every girl, pop girly on planet Earth should be lucky that she decided to go into acting instead of becoming the next Madonna. Michaela Cole is really astounding and is absolutely singular in their approach to scenes and their ability to still be biting and bring a ton of emotion. The background actors in this movie are all amazing actors, some of which are you may know because you've seen them in really great things. So many powerful women in one movie. In this, if this is a weak year, I am calling Anne Hathaway for Best Actress nomination, and I will say production design, costume design, and likely Best Original Song are in its future. So I like this movie. That's a good starting point. I don't think it's perfect. I don't know that the script lands the way that it was hoping to, but I liked it. It's written and directed by David Lowery. We mentioned Anne Hathaway is Mother Mary, and Michaela Cole is Sam Anselm. And there's some ancillary folks in this movie. Hunter Schafer is playing Hilda, which is Sam's assistant. Sheen Clifford plays Jade, and FK, formerly known as Twigs, is playing Imogen. Jessica Brown Findley is Tessa. Kaya Gerber is Nikki. It's just a ton of really amazing women in this cast. But I will say the thing about this movie that really blew me away was the interactions between the two leads. It's very much a chamber piece. It feels as though we're getting to peek into an intimate and real relationship that is, it's sapphic. It is possibly previously sexual. It is absolutely love and intimacy. And it is about creativity and ownership and idolatry and image. And there's so many high concepts in this movie. And I think that the dialogue is pretty amazing. The back and forth. I really like the first half of the movie. I was super into that sort of very stilted, quiet world in her workshop where she does her design, where Sam does her design. It's really impressive. Like that portion of the movie, seeing Anne Hathaway sort of at her breaking point, looking like really, really on the verge of breakdown. Coming in straight from a plane, right into a car, right to the house. And the overarching dialogue of like, I could feel her coming from 10,000 miles away. I knew it was her. All of that is really impressive. Like, I think that's really unreal. But then we haven't even talked at all about the songs. These songs were written by Charlie XCX and Jack Anastasioff, I believe, and then sort of made their own by Anne Hathaway. I think what's interesting is this is a movie that is just outside of Anne Hathaway's comfort zone. At least that's what the way she's talked about this movie. And we know she can sing, right? That's not the surprise. What is the surprise is her ability to sort of transform into a like pop diva, like a stadium level pop diva. Think what I thought of when I was walking away from this movie was Lady Gaga, Madonna, Beyonce, and I would say Kylie Minogue. There's like an interesting mix of all of them at once, and I just think it's truly astounding. The movie positions us to realize that Mother Mary's job and ability is to make people care about her. And even all the way to Sam, this person who knows her super well, she says no to because of the way that the relationship had ended and their connection had ended. And she comes to her and says, I need a dress. And she's like, no. And by the end of the movie, she has a dress. It's a really unbelievable, transformative movie for, I think, both Michaela Cole and for Anne Hathaway. But I also think it's just a movie that shows that even though a movie's script is super tight at the beginning, there's always a time where it could use some editing and I've listened to David Lowery talk about this movie, and it really was an idea that continued to populate as he was writing it. And then it really became the three of them, like, when it comes down to it, the director and the two leads sort of creating and finding the movie and the beats of the movie in that amazing set. And they spent days and days and days getting it right. Like, I think at one point he mentions they spent 7 days in the circle to connect with one another. And it was expected to shoot for 1 to 2. So I give him a lot of credit for having the ability to get a movie like this made. I'm always interested in what David Lowery does. Like, The Green Knight is one of my favorite movies of the year it came out. And I think back to it on a regular basis. I think he's one of the few people that understands how to take actors and utilize all of their strengths. Dev Patel in Green Knight and Anne Hathaway and Michaela Cole in this movie. And, even in Green Knight, you got Barry Keoghan as sort of a rascal of the wilderness. And it's perfect. He adds so much seasoning. He's like this amazing salt in that movie. In this case, you've got Michaela Cole and you got Anne Hathaway, and they are like fighting out for who the lead is. And it's the characters, it's the writing, it's the acting, it's all of it. So I would say I didn't love this movie, but it definitely went up like a whole half point because I could not get over how good the music performances were and how well they were shot and how good the music actually was. I've listened to the soundtrack since I've seen the movie. I am interested in seeing it again, probably not in a theater. But as a side note, I am working on building my home theater. So it may be one of those things I get to see right after we move into our new house. Think that's it for me on this movie. I'm glad I got to see it. My wife wanted to see it. We were a little concerned about how intense it was going to get. I had heard that there's a third act turn, and I was going to see it before her, but we were running out of time. So she ended up just coming with me, and she was okay. A couple of times where she had to cover her eyes because of the way the depiction of vulnerability and the way that they are showing visually things that are probably more metaphorical. And that was so a little more than I think my wife was interested in having, but I understand what I think the director was trying to accomplish. And it's okay to be a little provocative. And I think that's what he was trying to show. I'm mixed positive on this movie, right? The fact that I, in my review, talk about the possibility of a few nominations, at least shortlisting, I think we could get there. It depends on how strong the rest of the year is. It depends on whether or not there's category fraud if Anne is lead or supporting, if Michaela Cole is possibly supporting there. So back and forth here of what could happen. But I think it's probably production design, costume design, song are the three things that are the most possible. But this just shows this is really going to be the year of Anne Hathaway, I think. I'm going to see Devil Wears Prada tonight at a pre-screening. So I'm super excited. I'm taking my wife and a few other friends. We'll be back at this soon. You'll see an instant reaction to that, probably ASAP, possibly when this comes out. Thanks so much for keeping an eye on me. I'm likely going to be moving the podcast. It shouldn't affect you, but I am hopeful to sort of think about a modern approach to how I'm doing the podcast and the systems I'm utilizing. So I look forward to you not noticing, but me getting a better and more significantly simpler and possibly more monetizable experience. Speaking of monetizing, if you like this podcast, please like, rate, and review on all of your podcast catchers of choice. YouTube, I'm over on TikTok, right, making shorter videos. I would love your support, and I would also love your interactions. I love when I get comments, whether you're agreeing with me or not. But I'm a huge fan of the discourse, so have some with me. All right. I'm Robbie the Geek everywhere online, Geek on Film or Geek on Film.com. But thank you so much for hanging in there with me for this winter. Have a good day. Bye-bye.